What's up guys, it's Daz here, and Smash Bros for the 3DS is almost here, and so far Sakurai has revealed a whopping 36 characters. So, imagining that all these characters have at least one stage each, you can tell that there's a lot of potential for new stages in the series. Now I ended up going overboard with some characters having 3 stages to their name, while some only had 1. But here is a list of 60 stage ideas for Super Smash Bros. Now before I begin, let me just say that I don't expect to see all these stages in the game. This is merely ideas of what could happen. And this video was made towards the end of July 2014, so the latest news is the appearance of Captain Falcon, Robin and Lucina. So, let's jump in. So we have a lot of characters to go over, and since many share the same franchises, I will be collecting them together to make this video a little more easy to follow. So up first is the Mario franchise, consisting of Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, Bowser and Rosalina. In total I have 12 stage ideas. For Mario we could have a stage from Super Mario 3D World. Anything 3D worldly will be fine by me. Next we have Underground. We had a side-scrolling 2D Mario stage before, but I'd like another one. And I think the Underground stage would be great, especially when considering the moving bars as a hazard later in the game. Plus, most stages are pretty bright. A darker environment would be a nice change to create a little more variety. On to Luigi, and we have his only 2 recent games which we can actually call his own. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon and Mario and Luigi Dream Team. For Dark Moon we could obviously have one of the mansions from the game. I personally think it would be cool if the stage transformed into the next mansion as the battle progressed, just to show the whole game in its glory. Once again, the darkness would also be good for variety. For Dream Team, the stage could take place in, well, a dream. A land where perhaps there are millions of Luigis cheering for the battle, or running around doing whatever they do. Well, that's enough for the Mario Brothers, but how about Peach? Well, unfortunately, I only have one stage for her, and that would be inside her castle. We've seen her castle multiple times in Smash Bros, but we've never been inside. We know what it looks like too with Paper Mario and Mario 64, and it seems quite fitting for an arena, don't you think? I also thought of the idea of having a prison chamber stage, since Peach is always captured, but that might be too dark for the game. Plus, if the stage happened in a prison, how would you smash your opponents off screen? Unless this was like a Smash Run styled challenge thing where you have to like break out of a cage in the quickest time, but that's just, I don't know. Yoshi, and with Yoshi's Woolly World being announced, I think it's pretty clear what I'm going to suggest for a Smash Bros stage. A woolly stage of some kind. Sure, the art styles of the characters and the wall will clash, but hey, it's been done before, right? A second idea comes from the Melee opening scene. Remember seeing Yoshi run alongside a stampede of Yoshi? Well, I think it would be pretty cool as a stage idea. A fast-paced, side-scrolling map with a background full of multicolored Yoshi. It sounds more like a gimmicky challenge stage, as do many of my ideas, but I like it. Now on to Bowser. He hasn't been getting much love that recently now that I think about it, but nonetheless, I have ideas. First of all, coming way back to Mario and Luigi Bowser's inside story, a stage could perhaps take place in Bowser's gut. I have no idea how this could be possible with Bowser fighting inside himself, but hey, the concept is nice. The second stage idea is much more recent. Since he has been announced as a playable 5th character in the new Mario Party 10, we could have a Smash Bros stage which featured a Mario Party 10-esque stage, perhaps on the top of a tower surrounded with lava. I doubt Bowser would be a hazard in it though, since it would probably be too illogical and unfair. And finally, we reach Rosalina. Coming from Super Mario Galaxy, I have 2 ideas. Beach Bowl Galaxy and Toy Time Galaxy. I would add a Super Mario Galaxy 2 Galaxy, but I haven't played that game yet, so I don't know any. So maybe you can find something that fits the bill. But Beach Bowl and Toy Time seem good to me, with the fighters fighting on solid ground with dolphins or robot planets in the background to act as eye candy. Whew, the Mario franchise is quite a handful, but I can hear some of you complaining that I didn't add Donkey Kong. Well fine, I made Donkey Kong its own franchise because it is. Consisting of Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong is the Donkey Kong franchise. That was awkwardly worded. So for Donkey Kong stage we could have Banana Land. One of the final stages in Donkey Kong Country Returns is a stage made entirely out of floating fruits, and I think it would be quite an innovative idea for a stage, kinda like Poker Floats from Melee. I love that stage. Next up is Bongo Land. Kinda similar to Bananas, it's no lie that Donkey Kong loves bongos. So what if there was a stage with bongos everywhere, each bouncing the players about? I might have been very tired when creating these ideas, but it sounds fun in my head. Next up is Diddy Kong, who had a reappearance in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. So, how's about a Tropical Freeze stage? Yes, I'm asking for ice physics, but it would add some recenticity to the game. Recenticity? And that's all I've got for those two. Quite sure. But what certainly isn't short is the Zelda franchise. Oh god. Hosting Link, Zelda, Sheik, and Toon Link, there's 11 stage ideas in there. Hold your breath, people, it's a long one. For Link, we have the imprisoned location from Skyward Sword. Seems pretty circular as it is, so it would work well for a Smash stage. Next is one of the many volcanoes from the Zelda games, perhaps inside a fire temple. The glowing redness would help add tension to a match, if it occasionally became a geyser to split the stage into parts during the fight. Thirdly, we have the Twilight Realm from Twilight Princess. Going with another dark stage, this place could do well, since there's also circular pads already for Smash Bros. On to Zelda, and we have a concept from A Link Between Worlds. I'm not certain exactly where in the game this could take place, but I like the idea of the stage transforming from Hyrule into Lorule mid-battle. Second on Zelda's list is something more recent. Hyrule Warriors. Perhaps taking place in Hyrule Fields, surrounded by battling bokoblins, the four fighters can battle it out in an all-out war. With Sheik, there's another dark stage location, outside of Ganon's Tower in Ocarina of Time. It shows that the battle is almost over, and could work similarly to Wily's castle, but maybe on the ground instead. Or the Rainbow Bridge. My second idea doesn't really concern Sheik, but does relate to the Zelda franchise. Kakariko Village. Whether from Oot or TP, I don't mind. But I like the thought of Hyrule civilians watching. Heck, we could even go as far as to say that they go to the TP Hyrule Castle Town. That place is full of civilians. Now Toon Link. Outset Island, your home in Wind Waker. Whether it be on the bridge or the shore, I think it would be a nice blast from the past, especially with those new HD graphics. Second is the Great Deku Tree. With his massive face getting the front row seat, the fighter could battle on the lily pad the Great Deku Tree lifts up. Reminds me of the Kirby stage in Melee. Third on our list is the Old Hyrule, the one from Wind Waker. As a broken and vast land, this would be great for a background view on an elevated platform that the fighters fight on. Okay, we're now a third of the way through. Taking down two large franchises and a little one, time to take down one of the next largest franchises. Pokemon. From this we have Pikachu, Lucario, Charizard, Greninja, and I'm gonna add Jigglypuff because they are a veteran fighter, so I'm not releasing them anytime soon. Now since they're all from the same franchise, their stages are not specific to that Pokemon, but I just spread out my 5 Pokemon ideas over them. So, Pikachu has the Wild Battle stage. I personally love the new design of Pokemon X and Y, as many others do, but I think this battle arena, especially the bright grassy one, would be a nice relaxing location for a Smash battle. Lucario comes to us with the Tower of Mastery. In Pokemon X and Y, this is where the player gets to Mega Evolve their Pokemon, and actually in this case Lucario is quite fitting. But with an overhead view of the town and the land, this place seems like a great place to smash your friends off of. For Charizard, I gave a more old idea, the centre of town in Pyrite Town, from Pokemon XD and Colosseum. Once again rounded, I think it would be cool to just have this kind of land surrounding you. Alternatively, it can happen in the Golf Ball Colosseum in Pyrite Town too. With Greninja comes another X and Y stage, the Charlore City Gym, which features the player skating in a large diamond shape. Once again, I like this location as a Smash map. Finally, we have Jigglypuff, and for this I have one more X and Y stage, and that is the parade at the end of the game. Without spoiling anything, I will say, there's a parade. Go fight there. Massive crowd. Good fun. And that's the Pokemon franchise out of the way. From here on, the franchises get smaller and smaller. That being said, one franchise still has 4 characters in the new Smash roster. Fire Emblem. Unfortunately, I've never touched a Fire Emblem game, and so I have no clue at all for Smash locations whatsoever. So if you can think of a decent one, the comments are free for you to use. We're looking for 4, for Marth, Ike, Robin and Lucina. So, what franchise shall we tackle next? How about the Kirby one, currently having Kirby and King Dedede. For Kirby, we have 2 of his more recent and off-the-wall games, Rainbow Curse, which seems to be made out of clay, and Epic Yarn, which is yarny. Once again, I'm more interested in the style of the stage for these games, rather than an actual exact location. As for Dedede, I only have one idea, since it's still Kirby, and that is the ship from Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Not really much more detail I can add to this, so I'll leave it at that. Next, we'll take on Samus and Zero Suit Samus. The ideas are as follows. For Samus, I had outside planet Zebes, while the whole place is exploding at the end of Super Metroid. once again adding tension to the battle since the whole place is going to blow up soon. With Zero Suit Samus comes something pretty close to before. In space, watching as Planet Zeus is about to explode, or something to that effect. Wow, that franchise was nice and quick. Let's try that again with Kid Icarus with Pit and Palutena. With Pit comes the moon, also known as the Lunar Sanctum. I apparently have a thing for space lately. The second idea is Pandora's Labyrinth of Deceit, probably my favourite level in Kid Icarus Uprising. This place is just trippy, the music is weird, the place looks under development and there are tricks everywhere. It's a labyrinth of deceit. What did you expect? From Palutena comes one of the boss fights from Uprising. Whether it will be the three-headed Hudor or Cragalanch, I don't really mind. It could be someone else too, I guess. And finally, we have the inside of wherever Pit and Palu go. You see it in a cutscene in the Subspace Emissary, and I think it would be a nice idea. And that is all franchises with multiple characters in the roster. We only have a handful of fighters left. A big handful actually. 10 to be exact, so let's begin with Captain Falcon. We've seen his stages quite often, whether it's Mute City or Big Blue, but what other camera angles could you have for a high-speed race? Well, how about fighting on the cars again, in first place, while the trailing cars chase this one behind? At a camera angle where you can see the windscreen, I think it would look epic, albeit probably more motion sickly with all those turns. On to Fox, and with that we have more Corneria stuff. But Star Fox is getting a Wii U edition, so how about something HD and awesome in the background? Sure, it's another Corneria stage, but better. Brushing onto Sonic, and we have two stage ideas. One takes place in a separate franchise of Sonic Boom with a vast open world to see in the background, and the second one takes place in a running stage. Obviously side-scrolling, though I'm not certain where. Maybe a retro Sonic map or even Sonic Boom. It'd just be nice to see Sonic in his element of running. And lastly, from returning characters is Pikmin and Olimar. With the release of Pikmin 3, stage ideas are pretty easy. We already have the Garden of Hope, but we could also have the distant tundra, a snowy white landscape. We're also a little low on ice stages. Alternatively, we could go to the desert in the sand-belching Meerslug area. Whether the boss is actually there is irrelevant, but the brightness makes the place look pretty. And finally, if we were to avoid spoilers, we could even go to the formidable Oak, with its ant tower-like structure. There is an arena at the bottom of it anyway, so it could work. Now on to the newcomers of their own franchise, starting with Mega Man. Now we already have him with the iconic Dr. Wily's castle, but how about another retro stage with perhaps a Lek Man or another robot? Just a strong coloured stage is something I'm after. I'm not sure of many other iconic Mega Man locations, to be honest. Next up is the villager from Animal Crossing, and you wouldn't think there'd be many more locations to go, since you just live in a village for the whole game. And with the current stage panning across the world, you'd think everything was covered. Well, somehow I scraped up two ideas. The first one takes place in the museum. Perhaps if it was gimmicky like Smash Room, you'd have to fight only when the owls aren't there, and you are punished if you get caught while the owls look into your rooms, kinda like the WarioWare stage in Brawl. The second idea, which I really like, is in Club LOL on Dr. Shrunk's stage. Instead of singing, you get a four-way fight from people from other games. Perfect entertainment on a Sunday, right Shrunk? Wii Fit Trainer. Yeah, this one was harder to think of a stage for. But I had one. You don't spend the entire time in the workout studio. That's just for yoga and stretching. Sometimes there are mini games for things like hula hooping, so maybe one of these spots could be a battle arena. Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch. Little Mac, coming from the Punch-Out games, he fights other boxers in an arena. And we've already seen an arena stage, so what's left? Well, only two places. One is the training room shown in the trailer for Little Mac, and the second is the iconic bike chasing scene. Once again going for a side-scrolling stage. That just seems to be my thing. Time for Pac-Man. This one is really tricky. The obvious choice would be the retro Pac-Man stage, but that's taken, so maybe the 3D maze version of the game made? It could simply work with the fighters battling on top of the hedges, and the background just showing off the location, but I struggle to think of any ideas for location. And finally, the Mii Fighters. They could go to the Mii Plaza to battle with a crowd of Miis watching. It would certainly get the adrenaline going. And finally, Street Pass. It would be incredibly basic, just like a white hallway where Miis would occasionally walk past you. It would be even better if those Miis were actually those that you street passed or other online fighters. Or they were your Miis. But hey, it's Nintendo's choice. But if you were listening carefully, you'd know that's only 55 stages. So where are the last 5? Well, I have 4 bonus stage ideas and 1 more character up my sleeve. along with Jigglypuff, Ness is a veteran fighter who hasn't been announced yet, but he's a veteran, so I will include him. So for Ness, we could fight in Saturn Valley, surrounded by Mr. Saturn. You know, the nose items we can throw at other players. Yeah, just a thought. And finally, these last 4 stage ideas. The first one comes from the new Mario Kart 8, and that is the Mobius Strip Track. Whether we fight on the kart or we just see the strip in the background, I like the idea of involving a new kart level. The second stage comes from Nintendo Land, more specifically, the dance minigame. Your Miis must dance alongside a robot and the octopus monster that Mr. Game & Watch becomes with a Smash Ball. This could be a Smash Fight location, albeit a weird one. Plus, if Mr. Game & Watch isn't in this game, then it could be a way of actually giving him his appearance in a sense, just not as a fighter. The third stage, once again coming from Nintendo Land, is the main hub of the place. This massive arena is where Miis can travel between minigames in Nintendo Land. I just love the thought of fighting here. Final stage idea comes from Toad Treasure Tracker. Imagine, the fighter's battling on a cube, while Toad is inside traversing the place. He then turns the cube over, and the other fighters must adjust themselves onto the top face, or else they will fall off. Reminds me of that one Kraid stage from Melee. I like. And that concludes my 60 Smash Bros ideas. Most, if not all of these stages, will probably not appear in the actual game. But I have fun theorizing the concepts. And hey, if Nintendo sees this a little too late, they can always do it for the sequel. If there is one. Anyway, this is a good point to end it off here. My name's been Daz, you didn't really care, and I'll see you in a bit.